that section. That's where it all falls out of. So I think, you know, some good contributions have been made here about affordability. I think we're at risk of cleansing the city of those that aren't affluent, you know, usher them out to other towns, provincial New Zealand. Seriously, other cities have faced that where they've been cleansed of those that aren't affluent.
I know it's heading towards the end of the day. Just keep calm. Rather unfortunate choice of phrase there, Councillor.
Absolutely.
So why don't we just sort of keep focused on the
displacement of those that aren't affluent enough to live in the city.
That's refugee.
I kind of
It's refugees.
Now, hang on. So let's just.
As a mother of 7 children.
Yeah, Councillor Penny, you haven't had a go.
No.
Fair enough, but there's no need to intercede at this point. We've got 4 more speakers, so let's just keep focused. Councillor Chris,
the point is, Mr. Chair, I think addressing the diversity of Auckland is important, and you can address the diversity and retain that diversity by a retained affordable housing.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Sharon.
Right, affordable housing. Right, I think what we need to do is we have to say, where is the affordable land? Show me the affordable land, and you know, I think that's one of the big questions. The cost of the consents, the building products. I know Councillor Clow was talking about Singapore having cheap accommodation and affordability. I actually lived in Singapore for a couple of years in the 90s. My husband is a structural engineer. I know those housing HDBs, they call them HDBs, and the people living in those buildings, they get a cheap loan from the government and they move in.
Amazing.
They can't rent it out. They've got that really for the rest of their life, or perhaps if they can sell it and then move on to something else, move to a better area if they wanted to. But you know, to be perfectly honest, if we haven't got affordable land, the building consents, the building materials, the labour, the reason why they can build cheaply in places like Singapore is they have a lot of people that come from Indonesia or China and India to work, very cheap labour. Quite often, some of it's even illegal work, and that's why they can have affordable housing. So all these people out there wanting to have affordable living, it's very, you know, if we could do it, we would be doing it.
Yep, that's true. Thank you, Councillor Sharon. Now I've got Councillor Wayne, Councillor Linda, Councillor Callum. Can we keep it concise?
Sure. I'll make 2 simple points that make the case for affordable housing. One is that the myth of the marketplace, the magic of the marketplace, it just doesn't deliver. The fundamental problem we've got in Auckland is, while we can turn on the...
It's a marketplace working.
Chased.
Thank you.
Just ignore it, Councillor Wayne. Be concise.
Well, I just like to be differential to my comrade.
Don't worry about him. Just get on with it.
Sure, we can turn on the supply tap, but we're dealing with a global demand. It's international demand, and we know that. And Auckland, in an international sense, is a tiny city. So we are just not going to be able to meet the international demand for housing in Auckland, much of which that is speculative, by simply turning on the supply tap, even as much as we are.
That's exactly.
We're setting off a stampede of speculation, and that is happening, and that is an international stampede. So the only way that we're going to be able to deal with this affordable issue is to make it happen, and this is a tool to make it happen. We know that the marketplace won't deliver it, because if you're a developer and you want to make the maximum profit, you're not going to build a little shoebox home that you make next to nothing on. You build the biggest home you can, that you can make the most on. And that's frankly where the money is too, because they're the people in our communities that have got the money to buy the homes, the second homes, the third homes, the fourth homes. and speculate on them, rent them out, whatever.
Thank you, councillor Wayne.
So I agree with this, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Very good. Councillor Linda.
Oh, thank you, Mr Chairman. I'd like to take a kind of a pragmatic view of this. And Greg Clark summed it up, who is a renowned urban specialist who visited us earlier in the year, I think it was. And he talked about who's going to deliver affordable and enough housing. And he said it's not just the market, it's not just councils, and not just governments, it's everybody.
Yep.
However, I don't see that it's our role to make people build retained affordable housing, but we're actually going to do that in some form ourselves. If you look at our plans around our older adult housing, you know, we're doing that. We're refurbishing, we're maximising those sites to make them, to put more dwellings on them.
That's right.
And we're going to use the land we own, but we're not going to require anybody else to do it. We're going to do that, we're going to walk the talk with our own property, and I think that's sensible. It'll also provide some affordable houses in the marketplace because we can do that with a partner. But I think requiring other people to do it on their land, you know, who's going to be the police of retaining that affordability? Who's going to be the police of that in the next 5, 10 years? Are we going to make real estate agents go, oh no, now you have to be the police and go and check? It isn't going to happen. It's not realistic. Sadly, it'd be great, but we're not in that kind of state. We don't live in that kind of state. And so, for me, I think we can do our part by, you know, having Panuku work on the land that we've got. The government's doing that with the land they own. They're redeveloping poorly used sites, you know, with the SHAs. There's many, many sites that have got one house on huge sections, which they're going to put 3 and 4. So they're increasing the social and affordable housing. So we're all, you know, everybody's got to play their part. So for me, I will support this recommendation because I actually think it's the right thing to do. We're also, you know, making decisions on this unitary plan. We're releasing a lot of land, and that'll help as well. But the reality is, the closer in you get, it is going to be more expensive. That is what happens in big cities where people want to come. This is the effect of growth and the effect of making this a city that people want to come to. It's also an effect of having a country where people want to come to. New Zealanders want to come back to because it's so good. And also, new graduates don't want to leave. So it is, you know, we're a bit of a victim of success.
Yep,
And we have to manage that. So I will support this because I think we can, as a council, play our part in other ways. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Councillor Penrose.
Yes, very quickly. I wasn't going to say anything.
Oh,
But,
no, I've
you
got
know.
Councillor Penrose. You're not going to say anything right now.
So you haven't, it's okay.
I'm here to tell
In
you you
that
ain't
case,
saying
I can
nothing
talk
right at this
next.
minute.
Thank you.
Fast off the
I'd
box.
much rather
That's
you-
right. Yeah,
you
that's
speak
right.
common sense.
I'll be
Go.
real
Councillor
quick,
Cowell,
Mr.
you'll be
I'll be
quick
quick,
for a
Mr.
quick
Mayor.
too. Yeah.
I think Councillor and I and Cooper have spoken some good words there, and you know, we're going to be decades behind, whether we like it or not. We're decades behind, and because to upskill people to where we want them to be is going to take decades. And Arthur knocked it right on the Councillor and I knocked it on the head before in regards to skilled tradesmen. You know, I won't mention the governments of the day, but the governments of the day, a number of years ago, abolished apprenticeship schemes, and I was part of that process. And now we're going to be so short of plumbers and drain layers and builders and joiners and sparkies, and so it goes on. And it's not going to pop out this end of this year or next year. It's going to be decades before we catch up, as I said before. And then, of course, as Councillor Sharon Stewart said, material costs. You know, unless that starts to play a part in the market, ain't going to change. But what I often get told on our special housing areas is that an HNZ? Is that part of HNZ? No, it's not part of HNZ. Part of the process with council. Yep. You know, and it scares people. So, you know, we've got a long way to go. But as Councillor Cooper said, it's all parties working together to try and get an outcome on it.
Very good. Councillor Webster.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't going to say anything until Councillor Darby went on, but I've got 7 children, okay? 17 grandchildren.
17.
17.
Catholic.
One daughter lives in Melbourne and they are struggling to buy a house, and they are both earning. In fact, her husband's a builder. One owns their own house and they bought it many years ago in Wellington. 3 of them live in Auckland. And one of them did own a house, an affordable house, but because the land underneath it went up so much, they had to sell and made a profit and bought a house in Timaru to rent out. I want my children to live here. I do not want this to be an area where, and I want my grandchildren to come and live here too and stay here. That's right. And affordable housing in this false way is not going to make it. What is going to make it is building many different types of houses all over the place. And I can tell you that land outside Warkworth at the moment that was 400,000 and 500,000 is going for over $1 million. And land is actually going up and up and up. And unless we actually release the land and at least we build different types of houses, we are never going to have affordable houses. And you risk, I mean, you're raising people's expectations, but you actually risk putting them into houses that they, at the affordable, that they won't be able to stay in because they won't be able to afford it.
Okay.
So I'm absolutely supporting the staff on this.
All right, okay. Now, look, we've arrived at the end of
Mr.
this.
Chair, I have a right of question.
Just
Mr Mayor, I would like to speak. I haven't spoken
You have
much
spoken.
today.
You should do.
Yes,
I
you
would just like a
councillor.
chance.
Speak. You have
to-
spoken.
I know, but Mr Mayor, you charged me with the portfolio for housing on this, and I feel I haven't really been able to have a chance to express at probably the most important debate of all. I would like the chance to just speak briefly, and if you say yes, I'd appreciate that.
There you go.
On this issue, you talk about going down fighting like a shark. Well, as someone who spends a lot of time under the water with sharks, sharks don't fight. The only time sharks fight is when they're on the end of a line and fighting for their lives. Sharks spend most of their time smoothly gliding along and behaving very sensibly. So I will endeavour to do that. What this is about is saying, how do we deliver into the future the housing choices that people need so that we can actually allow affordability to become the norm, not as it is an exception at the moment. We put the affordability, the retained affordability in there, and alongside you, I fought to keep that in or get that in to the SHAs. However, that was because we had lost our bottle in the last few days when we put together the notified plan. We bottled out of the no density rule, we bottled out of sensible rules around density, and we did not adequately provide the kind of choices that developers need to build the housing choices that would have put us in a more affordable position. So this was a bit of a sop to how do we get the kind of choices we need. I'm focused on getting a plan that actually fits with good planning. Councillor, I never interrupt anyone. It's something I don't do. So, can we...
Karen, just get to the finish.
Go, Penny. You're doing good. Come on.
I've spent the last 3 years working on this issue. To have to vote on something that I fundamentally believe in with every fibre of my being that can be construed as not supporting affordability in this city is the hardest thing that I will need to do. On the other hand, I do not believe in populist politics. I don't believe in grandstanding, and I don't believe in making promises to people that we can't deliver on. And I believe
Yes. That's you, Mr Mayor.
Good on you.
I believe in delivering things that we can genuinely deliver. And if we get this plan right, and I'm hoping that everyone who's spoken passionately on this is actually going to vote for every last bit of the upzoning and the mapping and do it with the passion that I've seen them deliver on this, then we will have nailed this plan, Mr Mayor. So I am going to be supporting the staff, and I'm going to be supporting something that can genuinely be delivered. Thank you.